Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Pedro.
This is Jackson.
And today we have another episode, Jackson. We want to talk about today all about expireds, cold calling, and also even some open houses techniques that can help people get some business. So let's get started, man. What are some things you do when it comes to cold calling, expireds, cancels? You know, what's something you can give some of the agents out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a great strategy, especially with the turn of the year. You know, we're coming up on the new year in 2024. And, you know, one of the biggest things is calling listings that didn't work out, right? They either canceled or expired one way or another. And most people are on an agreement for that year. So what I do when I'm calling out, I say, you know, is the house still for sale?
Right.
You know, if people don't think about it, they get too intimidated to make that call. But it's just as easy as that. We just want to know, is the home still for sale? If it is, you know, awesome. Well, I saw it was expired or canceled. Is there a way I can schedule a buyer to see it? And if they don't really have an answer to that, because we know it's canceled or expired, you know, we can then kind of pitch our listing. And that's what I do. You know, if they can't really get a good idea on how to schedule it or, you know, what they want to do to move forward, I try to pitch the listing. I said, hey, you know, if it's easier for you, have you thought about listing it with a different company, trying some different strategies? Here's what we can provide. And we have a big pool of buyers that we're looking out for in 24. And so that's how I start. I mean, really easy. You know, is the home still for sale?
I really like that. And I think, and I agree with what you say 100%. I think that's a great segue because a lot of people have that anxiety of even asking about their listing, right? So to say, hey, can I still bring a buyer and look at it? That's an easy way into the conversation. But I always like to ask, you know, once, and maybe not at the point of the phone call, but maybe if they do agree to meet up with me, that's when I would like to ask, you know, what was your experience with this listing? You know, what did the agent not do? You know, what were your expectations? You know, what would you have done different? Right? Because I need to know in order for me to provide better than that person.
You're exactly right. I think it's a great, easy segue too. You know, you can easily talk about, you know, hey, as a realtor, I want to always improve our business and the service that we provide people. So what did they not do? What did you not like that you thought didn't sell your home?
What was your experience?
What was your experience like so that I can improve our business, right? Because I think a lot of realtors miss out on, you know, it's the National Association of Realtors, right? You know, everyone is kind of in this job together. So it's not a bad idea to just try to get a review on behalf of a different agent.
100%. But I want to talk about, you know, and I do appreciate the script, but I want to tell people, you know, what are some tools to be able to call these people? Like, what are some tools that you use to be able to reach out to these people?
We use Mojo. So it's a triple dialer. Now, and there's a lot of triple dialers out there. So,
I mean, some people can probably buy their own for like $50 a month or so.
Exactly. But what Mojo does really well is you can do a neighborhood search. So you can, you know, highlight a neighborhood area that you want to try to farm. Maybe it's a neighborhood you did business this year in. And you want to try to get some more listings there. You know, and it will search those for you and pull them up. I think another tool for this too, right around this time of the year.
Let's say I can't afford Mojo. I just got started, haven't sold anything, but I want to call people. What's another way?
So I mean, another way is to use your MLS. You already pay for that. You know, if you're in the business, use your MLS. You can go and see those expired and canceled listings. That's a great point. You know, you definitely don't have to use a tool. The other good thing is too, you know, you can always knock on doors. You know, you can. I mean,
sometimes
can find lists.
The old school way is the best way.
So you can always do that, and you can find the list. You know, foreclosure lists are out there too. Something that's about to go into foreclosure, that's a great opportunity for a listing.
Check the status of the homes. Select withdraw, expired, canceled, right? Browse through those, understand which ones might have a better potential for you. Reach out to them directly. Right? If you can't get a hold of that actual seller's information, go knock on that door. Especially if it's a reason expired or canceled. If it was 2-3 days ago, why would I not go knock on the door?
Exactly. I think people miss out too when people call on homes that are expired or canceled. You know, I get many of those calls, and it's always a huge opportunity to land both sides of a deal. because I've had plenty of deals where I saw it was canceled. I tried to get a hold of them, whatever, not successful.
Right.
But you go and knock on that door with an offer. If you have your buyer really interested, let's write an offer. Even if it's canceled, expired, make an offer, drop it in their mailbox, knock on their door, say, hey, here's an offer. If you want me to explain it, I absolutely can.
Or maybe if in that neighborhood you sold a house.
Exactly.
You bring that testimony to this person. Hey, did you know your neighbor, I just sold it for this much? If we do a couple things here and there to your house, I think we can probably get close to this.
Exactly.
That's, by the way, my company, blah, blah, blah. We have marketing. We do a little bit of everything. It's all going to come down to what you have to offer. You're always going to, we always talk about what separates you, unique value proposition. That's where that comes into play. Exactly. But no one is stopping you from knocking on the door except yourself.
Yep.
You're the one that has that anxiety. Now, I'm not the biggest door knocker, but I have done it a few times. Enough to know that it works.
Yeah.
Enough to know that out of 20 doors, only if 3 people answer the door and speak with me, it was a successful.
It's still a win. No, you're right. Yeah, especially in the environment we're in, getting anybody into the door is a win. I think too, like you said, there's so many different ways to do this. You can do postcards too. I know that's super popular. There's a lot of services out there that will do that. And emails, yeah, and just promoting what you've done in the neighborhood, even community events. Going and showing up and hosting. I know a couple of our agents on the team, hosted and they were Santa Claus. And I thought those are great ideas to help generate and keep your name out there.
I mean, it's all about, and to me, events has to be organic, right? Anytime I hear an event, or even if I put one together, it's never like, hey, come meet with me, I'm a realtor, blah, blah, blah. It's more about, hey, I live in the neighborhood.
Yep.
I want to get to know people here. And if the conversation just so happens to go into real estate, then casually it'll get there organically.
Yep.
Right? And then we just dive into something else. But I'm not attracting people necessarily to come and buy with me when I'm hosting an event.
Yeah.
It's more to get to know people, let them know that I know the area, that I'm a part of this community here, and that I want to help out if that ever comes up.
Yep.
And maybe you follow up with a phone call to all those visitors a week or two later, and that's when you let them know that you're in real estate and you can help them out.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, all these are super great opportunities. What's really nice too is we're having some rates change. Some interest rates look like they're going down, and hopefully they stay there. And this is a great opportunity to have that conversation again. A lot of sellers are waiting. They're like, I want to take on a 7% interest rate because I have a 3%. Now we're getting closer to where they can make money. They can make money. The market's going to heat up. And you can have those conversations, with anybody too.
Exactly.
Right?
Anybody.
You can cold call and expired and start to just talk about the real estate market in general, and get your name in there and at least give you an opportunity.
I think the goal of phone calls shouldn't be, in the agent's mind should not be like, hey, I'm going to give me a listing. And the agent's mind should be, how many conversations am I going to have today?
Yep.
I don't care if the conversation ends up being about golfing or whatever.
Yep.
Right? Conversations.
You're
hey,
exactly
I really like
right.
this. I'm glad you spent time talking to me. I appreciate it. By the way, can I reach out to you next week and maybe continue our conversation? Or, don't think of it as every call has to be a client, because it's not going to be the case. And a lot of times the people you're calling, maybe they're not the ones that are going to work with you, but maybe they'll tell people about you.
Right.
And, I have a really strong theory about it. And this is me, someone who is always over the top. I like to invest in things before I even do them. I like to have the top-notch equipment, pay for this, pay for that, and then I might do it. And maybe even not. But what I recommend to people, and I tell new agents, do not spend money on marketing if you haven't even done the free marketing that you can do yourself. Don't even dare to go into that when you haven't even door knocked, when you haven't gone to the office to print out 100 flyers and knocked on 40 doors and sent 300 emails to people.
Yep.
Do not spend money if you haven't done that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, that's a great point. Is we talk about all these tools and these options and things to do, but you're right. It's so easy to do the free stuff. I mean, Instagram marketing, YouTube marketing, getting out there and
emails,
just,
man.
just send an email.
If you put together a weekly, monthly email and you're consistent with it, that's better than any other things you can do out there.
Yeah.
If you're consistent with postcards,
Yep.
with letters, with, I don't know, flyers, signs. It will work at some point, but you have to stay consistent. You know, a lot of people think that farming a neighborhood is going to be instant, but they don't realize those people that are successful at farming, they've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, well, they realize that name recognition is important too. So they show up and they're there, like you said, not necessarily talking about real estate, but they know their name. You know, maybe Jackson is the person that has beautiful Christmas lights in the neighborhood. You know, like it doesn't have to be
Bring people over
crazy.
to take pictures with all the lights you have outside.
Yeah, you could do something funny at your house, you know, and you know, even just your street, have a little block party, you know. And,
UFC fights. Our broker always talks about he used to host UFC fights.
Yep.
And it was never conversations about real estate. But after 5 or 6 UFC events at his house, eventually he became the voice for real estate. People were starting to talk to him about it without him even bringing it up.
Yep.
And that's what the goal is of this video, is to really showcase. We have a lot of tools, so many things that you can probably look up right now and find a new website, a new thing that you can pay for. But remember this. If you have not tried the free shit, do not go and spend your money.
Yeah, no, you absolutely right.
Understand that.
Yeah, no, it's a great tip, especially for you guys starting out. You know, you don't know where to start. And a lot of people think, you know, they have to be in real estate a while to get listings. And I think that's just false. You know, if you come in and you know your stuff, and you come in ready on a marketing plan for somebody, this is how we're going to sell your house, and you package it that way, you can get a listing. You can get really nice listings, you know, without having to have served 50 buyers and, you know, go through the whole process. And make it easy on yourself, because really, if you get in the listing game early, man, you can save yourself some time.
And for those agents, you know, if you're kind of quiet, a little bit standoffish, work on that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is a business that it's all about communication. It's about shaking hands, talking to people. So if you need work on that, I would challenge you to do that more.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
select an hour of your day to role play and maybe practice, you know, different scenarios. But attend events, go to events, shake hands, talk to people. Are you a part of your HOA community?
Yep.
Are you a member?
Yep.
Do you know the people in your neighborhood? I can bake 300 cookies tomorrow, right? Put them in a nice little baggie, right? Put a little something there in the front, a little sticky from Amazon that I can put my logo, name, all that stuff.
Easy.
Go knock on the door. Hey, I live here. I just moved here last month. Just want to get to know everyone in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Basic stuff.
Basic. I mean, that's, you're absolutely right. And I think too, like you said, with the role play and kind of learning the conversations, cold calling helps with that too. Like you said, like Pedro said, you're not going to close every deal. You know, you're not going to go on the phone and get the listing. You know, so you can practice those conversations. You know, if you have a script in your head, think about, what if I throw this question in there? You know, think about, what if I ask this, or what if I talk about
do it and get back and see how that worked. If it didn't work, change it.
Yep, because I started on the phone, and that's how I learned all of real estate. I found out what people were looking for. I found out what kept people on the phone, you know, what questions they ask. And if you can learn that there, it really helps in person. You know, now when you get in person, you know what to ask. You know what they're interested in, and it just helps you save some time.
And I think the best way to approach the conversations is by trying to be a facilitator of information. Not requesting business, but facilitate information. I want to be the source of all real estate questions.
Well, you got to provide that value, like you said.
Maybe I'm the guy that would always talk about rates and what they're doing. Let's call Pedro and see what's going on with the lenders right now. We need to know. We need to know if the VA made any changes. We need to know that stuff. Well, let's call Pedro about it.
And the very first question I get all the time when I go to a listing appointment or even on the phone, Jackson has the market. You know, like, so if you know how to talk about the market right off the front, people love it. They feel more confident. They're like, oh, this guy knows his stuff. And he knows how to sell my house and what the market's going to do.
So maybe that's more of the role play that you need to be doing. Is analyze the market, study it consistently, right? Weekly, daily. I mean, this is what we do. So we should study it all the time. But maybe put it together in a way that you can explain it to someone, right? I mean, you have ChatGPT out there. You can literally type, this is the market, blah, blah, blah. Explain it to me at a third grade level. And it'll draft you a whole paragraph, and that's how you convey it to people. For those that don't understand. Not everyone has sold 30 houses before. So a lot of people, this is their first time. You
Yep.
want to talk, they don't know escrow. They don't know a lot of different things.
Yep.
Break it down. Simple.
Yep.
Have conversations.
You know, I know, very popular Ryan Serhant, a very popular real estate agent in New York. And what he did starting out, he would just make sure whenever he had an appointment or he had a house that he was going to do, he would make sure he was the best agent in the area.
Right.
Right. And that doesn't mean sales, right? It doesn't always mean I have X amount of sales or this dollar amount volume.
I would say that the most powerful agents are the ones that know a lot of people, not so much the sales.
Well, yeah, no, but also just knowing where you're going. Like, if you know when you show up that this neighbor is super hot because the school is great, and, I know little Johnny goes to Reagan and whatnot, and he loves it, and, I know you have a son, and this 2 doors down is the most beautiful pool I've ever seen, and you just act like you know the neighborhood, you are the best agent in the neighborhood every time you show up. That is going to carry a lot of weight.
And it's the confidence too. It's the way you convey that information. Hey, awesome. I know this area really well. I actually went to school close by. One thing that brings a lot of people to this side of town is the fact that the commute from here to downtown is 15 minutes.
Yep.
Plenty of HEBs down the street, hospitals, blah, blah, blah. You understand what I'm doing in this conversation, right? So pretty basic stuff, man. And I think we covered some great tools as far as what to do. But just remember this again, and I've said it. Please invest on the free stuff first. Try it, see how it works.
Absolutely.
If you probably work with a team or somewhere where you have access to a printer. If not, I would probably challenge you and say, if you're going to invest on something, invest on a printer at home. Yep. Invest on cartridges. Invest on whatever it is. Pick one.
Yep.
I would say out of all these tools we gave, pick one and do it really well.
Yeah, become a master.
And do it really well. And then every year, you add one more. But you do not stop doing the first one that you mastered.
Yep.
You keep it going. Don't start like me with 15.
You try to do 15 at a time.
And quit in week 2. Right? So this is one of those. This podcast is not necessarily us coming to you guys as we know it all. This is more about 2 guys that are doing really good in real estate and have found a lot of success. And now we mentor people. But we mentor people through our knowledge that we learned, but also our mistakes and things that we came across that we wish we would have done, that we know they work, but we never applied, we never did, we never tried. Maybe we failed at something. So this is all about this.
Yeah.
So I want to shift the combo a little bit to open houses.
Yep.
And I want to talk about what are some ways to maximize traffic in an open house and how to even have conversations at the open house.
Absolutely. So we started with, these listings and canceled, expired, because it kind of flows into this. Hosting an open house, like Pedro said, is free. A lot of times your team, your brokerage, another agent, they're going to allow you an opportunity to host an open house. You don't have to be the listing agent to host an open house.
Right.
So it's free. The other thing is, when you're there, you should be having meaningful conversations. When you have people come into your open house, don't let them just walk in the door.
Right.
Don't let them walk around by themselves. Let them come in, introduce them to the house. Talk to them about what features that you really like about the home. Then you're giving them all the information about the neighborhood. Again, like you said, people want to know what the neighborhood is like. What it's like to live there. Then the question I feel like almost everyone misses: do you live in the neighborhood already?
Are you familiar with this neighborhood?
Because you would be surprised how many neighbors come and they're like, man, I just want to see this house. And it could be an opportunity to get a listing. Right? They might be not necessarily looking at that house to buy, but they own a home in the neighborhood and they see it, this one, where it's priced, and they're like, man, it'd be real nice if I could get that for my house. So I think taking it that way, and you're putting all into your open house. Again, don't just sit there, playing on your phone, stand out in the driveway.
Presentation is key, right? In an open house is the first impression.
Yeah.
Take time, physically, emotionally, prepare, get ahead of things. And I would tell you this, don't just rely. If you're hosting an open house for another agent, don't rely on that agent doing marketing. Do your own. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to spend 3 hours out of my Saturday or Sunday away from my daughter and my wife, then I'm going to make sure it was worth it.
Right.
So am I just going to sit there and hope that this agent did marketing for someone to show up? No. I'm probably going to get there early, a few hours. Probably going to I'm probably already going to have a few flyers ready. to go knock on 20 doors from both sides of the street.
Yep.
Right? Hey, I'm hosting an open house for you, neighbor. Would love if you can come check it out and see what you think about it. We welcome all feedback, and we want as many people to come and see it as possible.
Yep.
Mojo Desk.
Yeah.
Hey, let me select this neighborhood of the open house that I'm doing on Sunday, and let me leave 40 voicemails, right? Inviting people to come to the open house.
Yep.
Hey, let me send 100 emails, and the mass email is a pretty basic email that you can draft from ChatGPT that you can send the same email to 100 people, inviting them to the open house.
Yep.
This is some basic stuff that we're talking about that is absolutely very low cost.
Yep.
Right? Very little time. But what I'm doing there is I'm giving myself the best chance possible to meet potential clients there.
You're right.
And, you know, one thing, and I'm glad you brought up the question that a lot of people don't ask, which is, are you familiar with this neighborhood? But another question that I think is a no-no, and maybe you disagree, but this is a conversation. I never ask what they thought about the house. You want to guess why?
Why?
Because that alone, it kind of cuts off my reasoning to check up on them a day later.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good idea. No, you have
understand what I'm
something.
saying?
Yeah, you have something to follow up.
I'm happy to say, hey, I don't know if you remember yesterday, we met you know, what did you think about the house? Because if someone comes and I ask them straight up, what did you think? And they say, I don't like it, it gets kind of awkward a little bit. And maybe they no longer want to speak to you about something else. Or maybe they don't even know anything. Maybe, you know, they don't even know that you can help them out too as a buyer.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. So to me, it's more of a conversation, casual, while they're inside the house. What did you, you know, overall, you know, how does this house feel to you? Well, okay, what about the size? Cool. Are you familiar with this neighborhood? How long have you been searching for?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, how long have we been looking is a big one. You know, I get so many people in an open house, they tell me this is the first house we came to look at. Man, that is an opportunity.
100%.
That is a huge opportunity because you may be the first agent they're in front of.
Yep.
And now you're the closest to the consumer. And I know that's a big thing Tom Ferry talks about is how close you can be to the consumer. The closest one wins. And open house, you can't be any closer, right? They came to you to see the house, to talk to you about the house. You got to seize that opportunity because it's huge. And, you know, you can then go take them all around the neighborhood, different neighborhoods. You can even have that conversation in the house. I tell them, you know, if you already live in the neighborhood, have you actually explored or looked at some of the new stuff? Like there's new construction, you know, right behind the HEB or wherever it is. And they're going to be like, oh, wow, like I didn't know. I didn't know. You know, if you can provide value right there, you know, in that 5 minutes, you know, that you're there, they're more likely to follow up with you. And I know, you know, Levi talked about that a lot. You know, he talks about that if the people would follow up with him because he would carry the conversation on. He would get everything out of the information that they wanted or he wanted. And be able to call instantly and go to the next house, right? That was always his goal was, you know, if it's not this one, it's the next one.
I treat every person that walks in as a buyer's or a seller's consultation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it starts casual and then it dives into, well, what exactly are you looking for? How far do you have to be from work? What is your, and you know, by the way, what days are the best days for you to go look at homes?
Yep.
Are you available tomorrow by any chance? Can you sign in over here and make sure that I have your email and phone number so I can start sending you homes tonight?
Yep.
Like, I'm not letting people go. But I also understand that some of the neighbors that are coming in to check it out, I'm also auditioning for them.
Yeah.
I treat it like
absolutely.
Whatever presentation I give in this open house is what they think of me if I was to list their home as well.
If you were to do an open house on their house.
On their house.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm auditioning. Even if people don't open doors when I'm door knocking to let them know, the neighbors that do, that maybe we're thinking about selling, who do you think they would pick? Someone that is too cool for school to knock on a door? Or that agent that's busting his ass all weekend knocking to let people know that he's hosting something tomorrow?
Yep.
Even if they don't have that, they'll say, well, if I was to sell, I want my agent to do that. Right? So it's all an addition. I mean, you're really auditioning and really letting people know what you do and how well you do it. And I never miss the opportunity to discuss, you know, were you thinking about selling? There might be neighbors, there might be nosy, but behind nosiness, there's an actual reason for things. And a lot of those reasons is maybe they have the thought of selling. So why would I not explore that conversation? Do you know what your house is worth? If I don't have more people coming in, You don't think I'm going to open my laptop and do a quick
gonna do it
CMA right there
yeah.
in front of them?
Yep.
Give them an idea of pricing. By the way, is it okay if I come to your house after this open house to give you a more into-depth listing consultation and
Yep.
really understand what you need to do in your house or what you can get for it? That open house is at 3:30. Could I come by at 4?
Yep. You're already in the neighborhood.
Schedule 2-3 houses out of that.
Yep. You're already in the neighborhood.
I'm
too.
already there.
Yeah.
I'm still got to pick up my signs and do everything.
Yeah.
I'm not missing this opportunity.
Might as well. No, I think that is a great point. And, you know, you're right. Like most people, if they're coming in an open house, there's a reason. And they could be considering, and just having that conversation is just huge. And yeah, I mean, you just want to utilize it. I mean, you just the thing I was going to say was you want to pay attention to the times you do it too, because like there is some strategy here, right? Some agents will host like a midday, like they'll do Wednesday, like from 1 to 3, and you have to pay attention. If people come there between 1 and 3 on a Wednesday, ask them, you know, do you work from home?
Yeah.
Right. Or, you know, ask them, what do you do for work? You know, are you home during the day? You know, that might tell you something a little bit about their work-life balance, you know, what they may need the house for, right? And you always want to schedule it strategically. You know, I'd say to get the highest attendance, normally we shoot for weekends. You know, you know, or at least during the week after 5. And you're going to get the best traffic. But I always found it interesting people do it different days of the week, because it could tell you about their work, you know, and what their goal is for their home.
100%. And, you know, it's all about how you market, but try something. I'll give you one that I've been thinking about. As simple as maybe even throwing a pre-open house open house.
Yeah.
For neighbors.
Yeah. Like,
hey, neighbors,
like almost like
a sneak peek into this listing before it goes live. I mean, that alone just makes people, oh my God, I want to be the first one to see what's going on with this house.
Yeah.
Little strategies you can do.
Yeah.
But the key is be prepared, right? Don't be the agent that's still reading off a paper.
Yep.
Right? To know what the house is all about as the client is walking in. Don't 1,700 square feet. You should know this.
Yeah.
You should have walked the house. You should have gotten in early. And please don't be too cool and afraid to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
How many times have you hosted an open house that you maybe had to blow some leaves away from the drop?
Oh yeah, easily. Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Is you should be able to give a museum tour of that house. You know, you should know every nook and cranny. You should have went through before. And again, like I said, you should know what you like about the house. Like tell them, I like this about the house, and I think this is super special or unique. Because you're right. The other thing too, it really goes back to what you're saying. Don't spend all your money trying to do these things. Like, I can't remember the last time I brought cookies and like drinks and everything to an open house, because it's nice to have, but it is not a requirement. People are coming there about the house.
If you know your product and you can convey to people what your product is and what makes it so unique.
Yep.
Trust me, the last thing I'm worried about is a cookie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, and I've seen crazy stuff. You know, I've seen people barbecuing at their open house and whatnot, and I think those are great and they fit in the right place, but don't feel like you have to do that to host an open house.
Especially if there's no marketing behind it and you invest in food and one person shows up.
You're coming out negative.
And you end up taking all that old food back to the house.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. It's just not worth the risk a lot of times. Like, unless you are really like blowing the marketing out, and like I said, it fits in the right case examples, but most of the time, people want to know the house. They're coming there for the house. And sometimes too, having all that other stuff is like, for people who are not as social, they're kind of like off-put too. Yeah. So they're like, no, I just want to come look at the house,
But one last thing before we wrap this up, I want to talk about the importance of leading the tour at an open house. If your system is not organized, it can be a shit show.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah.
Say you have 3-4 people coming in at the same time. You have no way to coordinate that. Take lead.
Yep.
Right? Have a system where they come and sign in first.
Yep.
And, some people are kind of, iffy about signing in. Just let them know it's not necessarily for you. Hey, the owner of this home asked if I could ask all the visitors to please provide some feedback and sign in.
Yep.
It's not coming from me. I'm not trying to be all up in your business. Right? And if you put it that way, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to let
Oh,
the
yeah.
seller know what they thought about the house.
Yeah.
But never miss the opportunity to get feedback and actually have them sign in. Have a system. You walk in, you come and sign in. You don't need a fancy iPad to sign in. You can have a sheet of paper, right? Spend a little bit of quality time with each person. Understand what they're doing. Lead the tour. To your left, you're going to find the bedrooms, followed by the primary bedroom, followed by the secondary bedroom. Then you're going to come across into the kitchen. You're going to see a hallway that'll take you straight into the garage. And then once you get done with that, I'll be here waiting for you. And maybe we can have a discussion about, some other things that you might be looking at.
Yep, no, exactly. I think you're exactly right, too. Like I said, with the museum guided tour, I mean, man, you could even, if you have enough people trying to bust in the door for your open house when you go to open it and whatnot, schedule some times, make it fun. Like, be like, hey, I'm in the next 10 minutes, we're going on the next tour, and you give a big group of people a tour of the house at each time. Because like you said, you definitely want to take the lead. You want to learn something about every person. The sign-in is a great strategy because they gotta take a few seconds to fill it out. So right then, I'm trying to hammer them. I'm trying to get the information out. So definitely know the house. And that's super easy. It's free.
Please be strategic with your signage outside.
Yeah, that's true
right?
too.
Don't just use 2 signs and everyone is confused. I make it so dummy proof that there's no way you're not going to get to the house following the signs.
Yep.
I mean, overdo it, overkill. No one cares. It can only help you to have more than average signs.
Yeah.
If I have 5, well, hopefully I can have 10 and put them at every intersection. Take a right, take a left, follow the 0, take another right, take another left. There's a big sign in front of the home. And I'm waiting outside. I don't know about you, but I make it a point. If I already started the open house and no one has come, I'm waiting outside. I'm not too cool to be in my car or to be inside of the home sitting. I am waving at neighbors.
Yep. That's what I was going to say.
I'm about to check it out.
Yeah, like you'd be surprised. You're going to catch people walking the neighborhood, walking their dogs or whatever. Like, talk to those people too. Even if they don't come in the house. Like, you can talk at the street. If you're out there filming your TikTok and your videos, that's a great way too. People are going to see you doing that and they'll be like, he looks funny. But people are still seeing you, right? And so that's a great point. I mean, definitely do everything you can to get people in the door, even from the outside.
Well, man, I think we covered a lot of great stuff in this video. I think if you understood, if you take away anything from this video, is to apply one of these methods that we talked about into your daily routine, right? Go find an open house every weekend. Challenge yourself to say, well, out of this 2023, I got 3 people that I helped out that I met at open houses. Maybe my goal for 2024 will be to triple that amount, which means I have to triple the amount of open houses. But I'm also going to do a lot better with my marketing for those. And I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to prepare a little bit more for each one so that I can maximize every single opportunity I have. And with that, if you do that so well, maybe you don't have to do as much cold calling as you thought. Use one or the other, but never miss an opportunity. Apply whichever one works for you. It doesn't have to be every day. Pick one day a week to cold call and get results. Try different scripts. You have ChatGPT in front of you guys. Try all the free stuff before you start investing money. With that being said, I mean, I don't have anything else to share. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, just one last thing too for me is, like Pedro said, definitely pick a day to focus on it. Conversations can happen in an open house or on the phone or anywhere else, right? If you base your goals on conversations, that's going to take you the furthest, and you're going to be able to make those in many different ways. Also, another thing you think about is co-host open house. Host an open house with a team member, with somebody you know. That's going to make it easier for you starting out. So I mean, I know we provided some great stuff today. Don't forget, like and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys out there watching.
Stay tuned in. We have a lot more videos. We plan on doing this every week. Forever. Yeah,
2024 is going to be big for us. We got a lot of goals and help you guys out and give all sorts of info out there. So you guys stay tuned.
And we always look for people. Hopefully, leave comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're going off different topics and things that we wish we would have known. But if you have more topics and things that can help us out, feel free to shoot those. With that being said, y'all have a good one. Take care.